My name is Hari, and today I want to talk about how to build safe and successful Web3 protocols. First of all, why am I talking about it, and why should you listen to me? So I used to help build the Solidity compiler or the programming language a while ago. I'm one of the founders of Spearbit and Cantina. We are an industry-leading security company working with projects building in crypto. And because of that, we have worked with over 250 customers directly, and we have interacted with over 1,000 companies building in crypto. And we've seen it all when it comes to building and deploying smart contracts and building your own protocols. We work with people all the way from young startups who are trying to build a massive protocol, all the way to people like Uniswap, Coinbase, all the big players. And I want to share a lot of thoughts based on what we have seen, what works and what doesn't work. So let's start talking about one way of building things, which is very common in the Web2 space, which is build fast and break things. And this is something that really was popularized by Facebook because they had this philosophy of shipping fast, moving quickly, even at the expense of things breaking. It's very common in Web2 startups, as I said. But this doesn't work in crypto, unfortunately. And the main problem it doesn't work in crypto is because of security. If you're a founder building a protocol in crypto, the moment you have assets or value in your protocol, you will have black hat hackers that is looking after your protocol, trying to find bugs and steal money. I don't want to sound alarming, but this is the reality of building in crypto. The moment you have use of funds, there are malicious actors who are trying to steal money. This is not the case in Web2 companies. And I want to highlight this by saying that Web2 hacks are not catastrophic. And I want to talk about an example of Retool, which is a $3 billion company. It's a very successful company. They sell an application that connects with your database, and they will help you build dashboards and other UIs without using much code. So a lot of companies, including many companies inside Fortune 500, uses Retool to build analytics or simple tools for admin dashboards. They had a compromise. They had a hack back in 2023 where an employee was spearphished and a malicious actor was able to gain access to all their systems. This is the worst of the worst when it comes to Web2 hacks. Your entire system is compromised. Turns out that all the sensitive data was leaked, and in Retool's case, what you're giving Retool is access to your own database. So imagine you being a Fortune 500 company, and you give access to your database to this other company, and now that company get compromised, and now your database is also compromised. This is exactly what happened with Retool. But fortunately or unfortunately, after a single month of the hack, it was business as usual. Retool is still alive and kicking. It's a very successful company. Nothing really happened to them except for the fact that, they had to make a public disclosure. Maybe they lost one or two customers, maybe they did not, but nothing really happened to Retool as a company. On the contrary, if you look at Web3 hacks, they are catastrophic. A single hack can end your company. To give an example, I want to talk about Nomad. So Nomad was a multi-chain bridge, which was built by a very highly technical team of engineers. It was one of the best teams out there when it comes to building multi-chain projects. And they had a single hack where there was a simple bug in one of the smart contracts, and they ended up losing $190 million. They ended up recovering some of it, but the initial impact of the hack was $190 million. And this hack killed the company. The company doesn't exist anymore. And that's a good comparison to Retool, where a similarly catastrophic hack happened for the company, but it's still alive and kicking. In fact, if you look at what the hackers did with Retool, they tried to go after their crypto customers. They didn't even try to go after their Web2 customers. They tried to see which companies in crypto ended up using Retool, and they try to see how much information you can extract from this crypto companies' databases. So that is the kind of sophistication that a lot of hackers in the space are going after. Even when they hack a Web2 company, they're going after their crypto customers. because that's where the money is. So I know like these big hacks become very public, but there are often like small hacks that doesn't really like come up in public. You have to be in the industry, you have to be in security space to understand these smaller hacks. These smaller hacks also kills the companies. If you choose to continue as a product that underwent a hack, you often have to like fill the hole with your own funds, or you have to like shut it down. There is like no other way to continue if you are a small company that had a hack. So this is the biggest difference between like building in Web 2 and Web 3, where a single hack can kill your company. So moving fast and breaking things, it doesn't work. So let's look at the complete opposite of like moving fast and breaking things, which I call as moving slow and not breaking things. Unfortunately, this also doesn't work, and I'll tell you why. So we speak with a lot of customers building in crypto, and the number one feedback we get after these customers go into mainnet is that they often learn more about the problem they're trying to solve in like 1 week of going live than like spending 6 months like building. This is such a common problem if you're a young startup building in crypto, building a new innovative product. The best way to learn about the market and your users and your problems you're trying to solve is to ship something out there. And if you fall into this trap of like spending months and years building without really like getting real customer feedback by going into the market, you're probably building something that is not correct. So we see this common pattern among like customers we talk to, which is that the second version of the protocol is oftentimes the protocol they wanted to build initially. So I want to now talk about what does it look like, what does success look like when you're building in crypto? And I want to bring like an extreme example, which is Uniswap. So if you look at Uniswap V1, it is a protocol that was extremely simple. Uniswap, for those of you who don't know, it allows you to swap from one token to another token. Like you can have like USDC, and you can buy ETH using Uniswap. So Uniswap V1 was dead simple. You can swap Ethereum for one other token. That's it. That's all it did. Of course, like if you can swap from Ethereum to another token, you can now also swap from one token to another token, because you can go through Ethereum to do that. So, but the way Uniswap V1 implemented it was like having like a single swap, and they like kind of like made like two swaps work by batching these calls. If you look at Uniswap V2, now you can swap between any pairs. You're not restricted to like Ethereum pools alone. You can have a pool of, say, USDC and USDT and swap between the two without dealing with Ethereum as an intermediary asset. So anyone sitting here who is trying to get better at building a protocol, I highly recommend you check out Uniswap V2. It's an extremely well-designed protocol. It's very, very simple. And that's the reason I want people to check it out. It's very, very simple. And Uniswap V3 ended up increasing the efficiency. If you look at Uniswap V2 and the pool I just talked about, which is USDC and USDT, turns out that it wasn't very efficient to do swaps this way. And Uniswap V3 improved on this by making stable coins and other things to be more efficient. And Uniswap V4 ended up shipping better programmability into the Uniswap protocol. So if you look at the evolution of Uniswap protocol, it started off as something extremely simple, and they realized that, okay, they have clear product market fit with their problems, and they clearly understood what their problems were. For example, that it wasn't efficient. And they ended up shipping like newer iterations that solve more and more problems. And now I want to talk about a framework for shipping secure and successful crypto products, which is based on like our experience working with all these customers. First of all, you have to ship fast. There is no other way around it. But you also cannot break things. So I think the best way to do both is by shipping your V1 by stripping down as much as possible. So the question I tell founders these days, like, what is the absolute minimum set of features that you have to ship that you believe the users want? And then try to build something that's like less than 50% of what you believe is the absolute minimum features. This is the level of like stripping down that you have to do if you're building a protocol that is at the V1 stage. And then security is important. But if you have a small protocol, it means that it's easier to secure. You don't have to like invest a lot of time, money, and resources into security when you are small. So you can get a security review with one or two security searches. You can do a security competition. You can also like host a bug bounty program. None of this will break a bank, unlike like building like a massive protocol where you have to now invest a lot of resources into security. And think about building a V2 with more effort into engineering, more effort into security. Like the protocol that you want to ship is the V2 protocol. It's not the V1. So this is the mindset that I want more founders to have when they're building in crypto. And in my opinion, from our understanding, this is going to help you ship safer and also like be successful building a product in crypto. And now I want to like, share some general advice, general thoughts on like what I just said. Okay, first of all, this advice is most relevant to like 90% of the startups building in crypto, because we talk with a lot of companies building like new and innovative products. But if you are building a product that already have like an incumbent player, you probably need to like ship something that's already better than what's out there. So if you're building something that already has like a competitor or like an incumbent in the market, you probably have to ship something way better than them from day one. But if you're building something new, you're much better off shipping something small and starting off there. The other thing I want to talk about is that building a protocol is very hard. Solidity is very simple. Solidity is a very simple programming language. And it's very like deceivingly simple. You think it's simple, but turns out that there is a lot of nuances that you did not take care of. Compare that to like building like a CRUD app, which is like you build like a Web2 application which has to deal with a database, some authentication, some APIs. Building a Solidity contract is like 10x harder, even though it doesn't look like that. So I want you to get into this mindset that what you're building is actually like harder than it looks. And the last thing I want to talk here, which is very controversial, is that starting with upgradable contracts are okay. If you listen to people on crypto Twitter, you would often hear a lot of idealism about like how you should build protocols. They would tell you that you have to decentralize everything. There shouldn't be any like admin functions. But these are often relevant to like protocols at the end stage of iterations, not at the beginning stage of the iteration. And I see too many founders who fall for this trap of like listening to like how your protocol should like end up instead of like how you should start building. So it's okay to have upgradable contracts, but make sure that you put some effort into securing these private keys that are securing any admin functions. A mistake I've seen some founders make is that they may have like a private key that's lying around in their laptop as an environment variable, and sometimes they get compromised, and it's just very easy to like upgrade and like steal user funds by doing that. So there are some risks to it, but the risks are easily manageable if you use a multisig and don't screw up your OPSEC. So that's mostly it for my talk, and I just want to like summarize the point I just mentioned, just so that everyone gets it. So moving fast and breaking thing, it doesn't work in crypto. Security is the big problem here. Security issues can kill the product. If you're shipping something with use of funds in it, people are going to come and try to steal it. I don't want to sound alarming, but that is the truth. Moving slow also doesn't work. You'll have a harder time building a successful product if you're taking a long time going to the market. The reality is that you probably don't know what your customers want until you ship it. And I want to propose a framework to build and ship successful product, which is ship something for the V1 that's extremely simple. Think about Uniswap V1, extremely simple. Think about what is the minimum number of features that your users want to have. Try to ship something that's like 50% there. You probably are overshooting at day one. Think about V2 being the real launch of the product. And once you go from V1 to V2, you can scale your engineering, you can scale your security, you can scale your bug bounty program. You can do all these other things by the time you're getting to V2. That's all for my talk. We have a few more minutes, so I'm happy to take any questions if you have. I know there is not a mic, so you have to shout. Okay. Okay, the mic is coming.
Yeah, hi. What do you mean by stripping down your V1?
So the mistake I think a lot of founders make is shipping a V1 with a lot of features. And you probably need to ship fewer features than you think for your V1. And like keep it simple. Like I said, like think about what is the minimum number of features that you have to ship to make the product useful for your users. And you probably should be shipping only like 50% of it. So does that make sense?
Yeah, I so agree with you, especially on the security part, like especially for protocol companies, the security can kill the company. So on your view, like at what stage should a company have a dedicated secure member, secure engineer, or secure team, like full-time dedicating on make sure that this doesn't kill the company? Yeah, I'd like to hear your view.
Okay, that is that is a great question, and I think the answer varies like company to company. So if you look at Uniswap as an example, I think Uniswap started having a dedicated person after they shipped V2. So around like V3 time, that's when they started like thinking about having in-house security people. And in my opinion, like that is the stage where you need to start thinking about like having an in-house CISO or like a security team. You can get away with a lot in V1 if you can get some external help. I would say for V2, like invest a lot more into security. At V3, better start thinking about like having an in-house security team, because today the threats are very different. Today people are trying to compromise, your laptops. I mean, you know what happened with Bybit. Like people are gonna come to like, hack your laptops, hack your devices, and when you are a large company that manages a lot of user funds, there are usually ways to like compromise it. So like definitely after like having clear product market fit and a bit after like your V2, that's when you start thinking about an in-house CISO.
Hi, Hari. You mentioned, I got some echo here. Dropping the phone. You mentioned you have 6 months in development, and that would be too slow because you would hit your customers and you would get people engaged on it. What is, in your experience, the timeline from V1 to V2 that would make it a
So
acceptable?
I think V1 to V2 you can invest as much time as you want. Like I've seen protocols invest like a year from doing this transition, but the goal really is to ship a V1 where you can really understand from your customers. What I've seen people do is like they spend a lot of time shipping this V1, and in 1 week of shipping this, they learn that okay, all those features that they thought users wanted, that's not what they wanted. They wanted these other things. And I want you to like spend as little time as possible in V1 and invest time after V1 really understanding what people really need. Because before that, you're just guessing, to be honest. So it looks like we're at time, but I'm gonna be around the event if you just want to have a chat. But yeah, I really wanted to talk about this after like seeing a lot of companies making the same mistakes over and over again. It's expensive. It's not going to help you become successful. And in my opinion, if you use this framework, you're going to have far more success and far less like issues with security. Thank you.